The movie opens by introducing us to a married couple, Anna and Louis, winding down in their bedroom and sharing some casual conversation. Right at that very moment, an urgent emergency broadcast starts flashing across their TV screen. Unfortunate for them, neither pays any attention to the television, completely brushing off the warning before drifting off to sleep. Little did they know, ignoring that crucial broadcast was about to become the most fatal mistake of their entire lives. The next morning, Louis wakes up only to find a neighborhood girl standing dead still at their bedroom doorway, creepily staring right at them. Judging by her eerie expression, Louis figures she's in desperate trouble and looking for help. Without a second thought, he signals her to come inside. Completely oblivious to how unnatural the situation is, Louis rushes forward to lend a hand, but in a split second, the girl viciously lunges at him like a bloodthirsty wild animal and rips into his neck, leaving Louis screaming out in sheer agony. Woken up by Louis's blood-curdling screams, a terrified Anna bolts out of bed and rushes to his side, using all her strength to yank the manic girl away. Instead of backing down, the feral girl turns her aggression toward Anna, lunging forward to bite her next. Panicking in this horrific situation, Anna barely manages to slam and lock the bedroom door just in time. She quickly grabs a cloth, desperately trying to stop the heavy bleeding from her husband's neck. But the wound is brutal, and the blood just won't stop flowing. With no other choice, Anna turns around to call 911 for an ambulance. But when she looks back, she sees Louis, who was writhing in agony just seconds ago, now standing completely upright, acting as if nothing happened. Before Anna can even process this bizarre miracle, Louis suddenly snaps and aggressively attacks her, trying to tear into her flesh. Fighting for her life, Anna breaks free from his grip, sprints into the bathroom, and deadbolts the door. Refusing to stop, Louis begins violently hammering against the door to break inside. Petrified, Anna opens the bathroom window, scrambling to escape with everything she's got. But just as she's climbing out, Louis reaches through and grabs her leg. Desperate to survive, Anna kicks Louis hard, breaking his grip on her leg, and scrambles out of the window toward her car. But as she reaches it, she spots a neighbor armed with a shotgun, blindly firing at anyone in sight. Caught in the middle of this sudden madness, Anna's mind goes completely blank. She screams at him, demanding to know what the hell is going on. Instead of answering, the man points his gun directly at her and barks, "Stay back or I'll put you down." Seeing the fresh blood on her clothes, he assumes she's already infected with whatever virus is going around. But just as he steps forward to pull the trigger, a speeding ambulance rams into him from behind, killing him on the spot. Horrified, Anna looks around and realizes the entire neighborhood has descended into absolute chaos. People are sprinting in every direction, running for their lives, while buildings burn to the ground around them. Before she can even shift her car into drive, a rabid Louis bursts out of the house. Anna quickly locks herself inside the car, hits the ignition, and steps on the gas. In a split second, Louis leaps onto the hood, violently smashing against the windshield to get to her. Swerving the wheels sharply left and right, Anna manages to shake him off and speeds away. Refusing to give up, Louis chases after her car with terrifying speed, but his attention is suddenly caught by another woman standing nearby. Abandoning the car, he immediately pivots and charges toward his next victim. Anna quickly cranks up the car radio, only to hear a chilling broadcast confirming that a deadly zombie virus has completely crippled the city. The infection is spreading like wildfire because a single bite from an infected person instantly turns a healthy human into a bloodthirsty monster. The radio announcer repeatedly warned survivors to find a secure shelter immediately. Right then, the screen reveals a jaw-dropping view of the city, showing how this zombie apocalypse has turned the entire metropolis into a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Out of nowhere, a desperate security guard tries to carjack Anna. Fighting back, she delivers a powerful kick to push him away and breaks free from his grip. However, during the chaotic struggle, Anna loses control of the wheel, and the car violently crashes head-on into a massive tree. The impact is so brutal that she blacks out instantly. Hours later, when she finally regains consciousness, she stumbles out of the wrecked vehicle. But before she can even process her surroundings, a police officer suddenly appears, drawing his gun directly at her and demanding she speak up, just to verify if she's a normal human or one of the walking dead. Anna bursts into tears, begging him, "Please, don't shoot." Hearing her desperate plea, the cop immediately realizes she isn't infected, knowing that the undead are completely incapable of human speech. Relieved to find safety in the presence of law enforcement, Anna asks for his help. The officer agrees to protect her, telling her to fall in line and follow his lead. After walking for a bit, they cross paths with 3 other survivors. Among them is a woman named Laura, who is 8 months pregnant, alongside her husband, Andre. The third member of their group is a guy named Michael. Now a tight group of 5, they push forward in search of a safe haven. It doesn't take long before a massive shopping mall comes into view. They collectively agree to hole up inside, realizing the mall is a perfect fortified fortress to keep the horde at bay, fully stocked with endless food and supplies. But as they rush to the entrance, they find the main doors chained and locked from the inside. Right at that moment, a wandering zombie spots them and charges like a rabid animal. They frantically open fire to protect themselves, but to their horror, the bullets barely slow down the monster. To make matters worse, the loud gunfire attracts a whole crowd of zombies from the surrounding area. With 0 options left, the cop aims his weapon directly at the lock, blasting it open so the group can scramble inside and slam the heavy doors shut behind them. Once safely inside, they draw their weapons and begin sweeping the entire mall, room by room, ensuring no hidden threats are lurking in the shadows. To their immense relief, the mall is completely clear of any immediate threats, allowing the group to finally take a breather and catch their wind. However, Michael quickly cuts the piece short, pointing out that they need to inspect every single entryway to ensure no doors were accidentally left unsecured. Agreeing with his logic, the group splits up to sweep every nook and cranny of the massive complex. As Michael investigates the dark corners of a storage room, a bizarre, wet, tearing sound catches his attention. Moving like a ghost, he cracks the door open, and the sight inside completely takes his breath away. A grotesque zombie is actively feasting on a fresh corpse, and before Michael can react, the creature locks eyes with Michael. In a flash, the monster lunges forward, starved for its next meal. Reacting on pure instinct, Michael grabs a sharp, jagged piece of wood and drives it straight into the zombie's skull, neutralizing the threat. Meanwhile, the echoes of the struggle reach the rest of the group, but just as they rush to back up Michael, another walker blindsides them, lunging directly at the pregnant woman, Laura. The cop throws himself into the line of fire, tackling the beast, but he quickly gets overwhelmed by its unnatural, raw strength. Seeing him lose ground, Anna finds her courage, snatches the officer's dropped firearm, and puts a bullet right through the monster's head. With no time to celebrate, they sprint into an elevator and hit the button for the upper floors. But the moment the doors slide open on the second level, they find themselves staring down the barrels of 3 shotguns held by mall security guards, revealing that this trio has completely locked down the entire facility. The leader of the security guards, a hard-nosed guy named CJ, gives the newcomers a cold ultimatum. "Get the hell out of here. We aren't risking our necks for your baggage." Michael tries to reason with him, making it clear that the lower levels are crawling with flesh eaters, and going back down is a straight-up suicide mission. But CJ couldn't care less and flat-out refuses to grant them sanctuary on the second floor. Desperate, Andre drops all pride and begs, "Look, man, my wife is 8 months pregnant. If we stay out there, she and my unborn child won't survive the night." Seeing the raw desperation, CJ finally cracks, but his mercy comes with a catch. They must hand over every single weapon before taking a step inside. With no leverage left, the group reluctantly disarms, surrendering their firearms to gain entry. Once inside, they gather around a TV screen where news anchors are reporting that the entire country has officially descended into a full-scale pandemic. The broadcast reveals a crucial exploit to taking these monsters down. Body shots are useless. The only way to neutralize them permanently is a direct hit to the brain. Meanwhile, Laura, the pregnant woman, begins feeling a sickening sensation inside her body. Keeping it quiet, she subtly gestures for her husband to follow her into the bathroom. Once the door is shut, she rolls up her sleeve, revealing a horrific, bleeding bite mark. In tears, she whispers the terrifying truth. "One of those things bit me. I'm infected." Hearing this devastating confession from her wife, Andre swallows his panic and forces himself to stay strong. He holds Laura tight, desperately trying to calm her down, and reassures her, saying, "Don't lose your mind, babe. Everything is going to be fine. I won't let anything happen to you." But his voice quickly drops to a serious whisper as he gives her a strict warning. "Listen to me very carefully. No matter what happens, you cannot let a single soul in this group find out about that bite mark. Keep it hidden at all costs." Meanwhile, in another corner of the mall, the rest of the survivors sit in deep anxiety, knowing they are completely boxed in by a cage of starving zombies and must escape this hellhole by any means necessary. Sensing the urgency, CJ barks orders at the cop, telling a few of them to get up to the roof immediately and paint a massive SOS sign with whatever paint or bleach they can find, hoping a passing rescue chopper might spot it and realize there are still living souls inside. Following his commands, they head topside and map out a giant distress signal. Looking down from the edge, they notice an absolute swarm of infected moving toward the complex like an army of ants. While this terrifying sight makes their hearts race, the sudden crack of distant gunfire echoes from a building across the street. CJ quickly raises his binoculars to look across and spots a lone man standing on the roof of a gun shop. The man holds up a large chalkboard, trying to show them a message that reads, "Name's Andy. Trapped here alone. Please send help." Right after holding up the sign, the guy abruptly points toward the sky. As they look up, they see a rescue helicopter flying overhead. Caught in a wave of pure joy, they begin waving frantically and screaming for attention. But unfortunately, the chopper is flying way too high to notice the survivors on the roof and vanishes past the horizon. Just like that, their short-lived hope turns into crushing despair. As darkness falls and night takes over, they retreat back inside the facility to get some sleep. The next morning, as one of CJ's guards glances at the CCTV control room monitors, he spots a massive truck tearing down the road, desperately hauling ass toward the mall to escape a pursuing horde. The moment the guard spots the chaotic scene on the monitors, he sprints off to alert the rest of the group. Hearing the news, everyone becomes desperate to rescue the stranded folks inside that truck. However, their leader, CJ, flat out refuses to walk into what he sees as a death trap. He reasons, "We have absolutely no idea if the people in that rig are clean or already turned. If even a single soul among them is infected, we're all dead meat. I am not taking that kind of risk." But the group refuses to swallow his selfish logic and makes the final call to save the survivors. Hearing their defiance, CJ loses his temper, drawing his six-shooter and aiming it right at them. He threatens, "Anyone takes a single step toward that door, and I'll put you down myself." Right then, CJ's own trusted bodyguard grows disgusted by his heartless decision and speaks up, insisting they must save those innocent lives. Enraged by the betrayal, CJ presses the barrel of his gun directly against his partner's chest, snarling, "Then maybe I should start the body count with you." While CJ and his bodyguard are locked in their tense standoff, Michael sees an opening, lunging forward to strip Bart of his weapon. Simultaneously, the cop blindsides CJ from behind, tackling him and wresting the revolver from his grip. Losing no time, the group drags both CJ and Bart down the hall, tossing them into a dark holding room and locking the door tight. With the internal threat neutralized, they huddle up to map out a rescue plan. Michael takes charge of the operation, stating, "Andre and I will head down to the ground floor to draw the horde's attention. The rest of you, get ready to pull those people inside the moment the coast is clear." On cue, Michael and Andre head toward the basement with weapons drawn, while up on the roof, Anna and Laura frantically wave their arms to signal the truck toward the entrance. Spotting them, the driver slammed the truck into reverse, crushing scores of undead bones beneath the heavy tires, before slamming on the brakes right at the main entrance. Down below, Michael and Andre unleash a hail of gunfire to keep the monsters at bay, successfully covering the newcomers as they scramble safely inside the mall without taking a single casualty. However, once inside the safety of the mall, they quickly discover that one of the women from the truck is critically ill. After a quick assessment, Anna steps up and tells the group, "I might be able to stabilize her. I'm a registered nurse." With that, Anna rushes the ailing woman into a separate room to begin a medical evaluation. But to her shock, the woman's condition deteriorates rapidly mid-treatment, and within moments, she takes her final breath. Anna immediately calls over the guard on duty, instructing him to get the corpse out of the mall right away. But before they can even process the order, the dead body snaps upright in bed, fully turned into a feral zombie, and lunges straight at Anna. Keeping her composure, Anna snatches a heavy iron rod sitting nearby and drives it deep into the zombie woman's eye socket, putting her down for good. Shaken but focused, Anna moves on to check another newcomer from the truck, and what she finds makes her blood run cold. This man has also been bitten and is already infected. Pacing back to her core group, Anna delivers a grim warning. Anyone who takes a bite from these things is a ticking time bomb. They turn, and they turn fast. Hearing this terrifying confirmation, Andre completely breaks down inside, knowing damn well that his own wife is carrying that exact same death sentence. Yet even facing total disaster, Andre keeps his mouth shut and hides the truth from the rest of the crew. Meanwhile, Anna alerts everyone that there is still an elderly man among the newcomers who is infected and could turn at any second. Michael wastes no time, stating flatly, "We need to neutralize him right now before he becomes a threat to all of us." Armed and determined, the group marches toward the man's quarters, but the moment they arrive, the old man's daughter instantly realizes they are there to execute her father in cold blood. Overwhelmed, she breaks down in front of everyone, begging with folded hands, "Please don't kill my dad. He's the only family I have left in this world." But Michael stops her, explaining firmly, "If we keep your father alive, he will become a grim reaper for every single one of us." Hearing this, the elderly man realizes Michael's logic is absolutely right. He pulls his beloved daughter into a tight embrace, comforting her. "Sweetheart, they're right. If I turn into one of those things, it puts all your lives at risk." Accepting the harsh reality, the girl walks away in tears, unable to watch her own father die. The rest of the group steps out, leaving the cop behind to wait in cold blood for the old man to turn. The moment the transformation begins, the officer fires a clean shot directly into his head, neutralizing him permanently. Hearing the echoing gunshot, the daughter knows her father is gone. Meanwhile, Andre quietly slips back into his wife's room. Seeing the toxic blue veins spreading across Laura's skin, he has no doubt left. She is slowly turning into a zombie. Yet, despite knowing the ultimate truth, he keeps her in the dark, desperate to protect his unborn child from the devastating trauma. Comforting his wife, he tells her, "From now on, you stay inside this room. Don't go out or see anyone. Those bloodthirsty freaks are hunting out there, and I won't let them hurt you or our baby." Later, when the cop heads back to the roof, he sees that the situation has escalated. The horde surrounding the mall has multiplied drastically. Weeks pass like this, and over time, a unique and deep friendship blossoms between the police officer and Andy, the gun shop owner across the street. The rest of the survivors start relaxing as this massive shopping mall is fully stocked with food and supplies, making their survival quite comfortable. But one day, the mall's main power grid suddenly fails, plunging the entire facility into pitch-black darkness. Knowing they can't survive stumbling around in the dark, the group makes the final call to head down to the underground basement to kickstart the generators. Flashlights in hand, they step down the stairwell, but the moment they reach the basement floor, Bart gets a sickening feeling that an unseen shadow is stalking them from the dark. Hearing this, the group goes on high alert, frantically sweeping their flashlights to pierce the shadows. At first, the sweeping flashlights reveal nothing but a persistent scratching sound echoes through the dark. Moving closer, a cute little puppy steps out from behind a concrete pillar. Everyone breathes a collective sigh of relief, and Michael calls the dog over. But without warning, a zombie blindsides Bart out of the shadows, sinking its teeth deep into his neck. Bart's agonizing screams trigger a swarm of nearby infected who come charging toward the noise. Desperate to survive, the group scrambles behind a heavy chain-link gate, locking it just in time. The ravenous horde slams into the fence, with several monsters aggressively scaling the wire. The survivors open fire to hold them back, but in a flash of bad luck, their guns click empty. Realizing they are completely cornered, Michael grabs a nearby fuel pipe and begins dousing the oncoming zombies in gasoline. The moment the monsters breach the gate, CJ flicks his lighter and tosses it into the fuel. Instantly, the basement erupts into a roaring wall of fire, incinerating scores of the undead and buying the group enough time to flee back upstairs. Meanwhile, keeping everyone in the dark, Andre has secretly locked his turned wife, Laura, inside a hidden room, restraining her with heavy iron chains. Right then, Laura goes into labor. Andre quickly covers her mouth with a thick cloth to muffle her horrific screams from the rest of the mall. After a grueling ordeal, Laura finally gives birth to a newborn baby. Immediately after delivery, Laura goes completely feral, snapping her jaws and trying to rip Andre apart, but the heavy chains keep her pinned. Hearing the muffled commotion, an elderly woman from the group wanders into the room, gasping in horror as she sees the zombie Laura. Without hesitation, she draws her weapon and puts a bullet through Laura's head. Blinded by grief and pure rage, Andre snaps, pulling his gun and shooting the old woman down. But right before taking her last breath, the dying woman fires a blind countershot, taking Andre out for good. Alerted by the gunfire, the rest of the group bursts into the room, only to find 3 fresh corpses. As Anna carefully approaches the newborn baby, her heart drops into her stomach. The infant has been born infected, a tiny, snapping zombie. With no other choice, a devastated Anna neutralizes the zombie baby to end the nightmare. Once the chaos settles, the police officer addresses the remaining survivors, stating coldly, "If we stay trapped here, we're all dead meat. No one is coming to save us. We need to carve out our own exit." Michael steps up with a desperate plan, suggesting there are 2 massive trucks sitting in the parking garage. If we heavily armor them, we can plow right through the horde and make a run for the marina. There's a boat waiting, and we can sail out to a safe, isolated island where these freaks can't reach us. The group loves the idea and immediately gets to work modifying the 2 vehicles in the parking garage. To keep the undead out, they weld heavy steel plates over the windows and wrap the entire exterior in razor-sharp barbed wire. With the trucks reinforced, they add some lethal firepower. Michael points out a custom opening in the truck to Anna, explaining that if any zombie tries to climb aboard, they can shove a chainsaw through the gap and shred them to pieces. Meanwhile, up on the roof, the cop writes a message on the chalkboard to Andy, the gun shop owner, letting him know that they plan to rescue him in a few days when they make their escape. Though thrilled, Andy writes back with grim news. He is completely out of food and cannot survive starvation much longer. While the officer racks his brain for a way to help Andy, his eyes fall on the little puppy they rescued from the basement. A brilliant idea hits him, and he decides to use the dog to deliver supplies to Andy's shop. They securely strap a package of food to the puppy's back and lower it down to the street. The moment the dog lands among the infected, Andy lets out a sharp whistle to call it over. The clever puppy darts through the legs of the distracting horde and slips right through a small pet door into the shop. Everyone celebrates seeing the puppy make it inside safely, but their joy is cut short when a stray zombie squeezes through that exact same small door. Within seconds, a massive swarm of infected breaches the shop and tears Andy apart alive. The group listens in horror over the walkie-talkie as Andy's agonized screams echo and cut out, leaving them devastated. Now they realize they can't afford to sit tight for another second, or the horde will find a way inside and slaughter them all. They make the final call to head down to the basement arsenal to stock up on weapons before making their grand escape in the trucks. Per the plan, they station one of the guys at the basement gate to keep watch, instructing him to unlock the door the moment they return with the firepower. They sprint to the armory, grabbing as many guns and ammunition as they can carry. However, on their way back, a relentless pack of zombies catches their scent and gives chase. Running for their lives, they reach the basement door and scream at their lookout to unlock it. But to their absolute horror, the cowardly lookout has already abandoned his post and fled out of pure terror. Trapped in a literal dead end with thousands of zombies rushing down the corridor, they face certain death. But at the very last second, Anna suddenly appears, throwing the door open from the inside and saving them just in time as they leap into safety. Before they can lock the basement door behind them, the undead are already breathing down their necks, forcing the group to leave it wide open and bolt to the upper floors. Reuniting with the rest of the survivors, they urge everyone to move toward the modified rigs immediately. Taking the elevator down to the underground parking garage, they pile into the heavily armored trucks and crank the engines. However, the moment they hit the main street, their hearts sink at the sight of thousands of zombies flooding the road. They plow forward without stopping, but the sheer volume of the horde eventually jams the wheels, leaving the trucks completely stranded. Thanks to the reinforced steel plates and barbed wire, the monsters can't break inside. Anytime a zombie tries to climb the rig, the survivors shove a chainsaw through the slits, slicing them to pieces. Realizing they can't afford to stay trapped there, CJ scrambles onto the roof of the moving truck and hurls a massive propane tank straight into the middle of the horde. As a zombie picks it up, CJ fires a precise shot at the cylinder. The violent explosion obliterates hundreds of infected, clearing a massive path and allowing them to floor the gas and escape the downtown area. But just as they gain momentum, a stray zombie leaps onto the truck driven by the cop. An elderly man on board raises his chainsaw to kill the freak, just as the officer notices the road ahead is completely blocked. He aggressively swerves the wheel, but the heavy speed causes the heavy truck to flip over. In the chaotic crash, the old man loses control of the spinning chainsaw, accidentally slicing his partner before the blade turns on him, killing them both instantly. Seeing the other rig flip in his rearview mirror, CJ tells Michael to slam on the brakes, refusing to abandon his crew. Meanwhile, the cowardly survivor who originally ditched them at the basement gate tries to make a run for it on his own, but a zombie drops from above and tears him apart. Moments later, CJ and the rest reach the crash site and pull the injured officer from the wreckage. They all sprint toward the remaining truck, but a massive pack of zombies is hot on their heels. While the others manage to scramble into the rig, Anna lags behind due to her leg injury. Just as she reaches the doors, a few zombies grab her from behind. At the very last second, CJ and Michael lunge forward, aggressively dragging Anna away from the monster's grip and pulling her safely inside the truck. Flooring the gas, they leave the infected far behind and race toward the coastline. Parking the rig, they scramble out and desperately search for the boat. But within seconds, a massive swarm of zombies comes charging down the docks. Realizing they are running out of time, CJ yells at the group to go, choosing to stand his ground alone to buy them every second he can. He drops scores of monsters, but the sheer volume is overwhelming, and thousands of infected close in on him. Realizing there is no way out, CJ points his gun at a nearby propane tank and pulls the trigger. A massive explosion erupts, with CJ sacrificing his life to vaporize the horde and secure his friend's escape. Meanwhile, the rest of the group locates the boat and unties the lines. Just as they are about to set sail, Michael refuses to step on board. When Anna begs for an explanation, Michael rolls up his sleeve, revealing a fresh bite mark he took while pulling her into the truck. He tells her that if he comes along, he risks turning and killing them all. Shaken and devastated, the survivors are forced to leave Michael behind as the boat pushes off into the open water. Standing alone on the shore, Michael watches them fade into the distance as a pack of zombies approaches. Deciding that a quick death is better than turning into a monster, Michael raises his weapon to his head and pulls the trigger. Out on the ocean, the remaining survivors sail toward the horizon, heading for an isolated, zombie-free island. And with that, our story comes to an end. All right, guys, that wraps up the thrilling breakdown of today's movie, from Laura's fatal mistake to the unbelievable sacrifices made by CJ and Michael. Which scene had your heart pounding the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this recap, smash that like button and share it with your fellow movie buffs. And hey, if you're new to the channel and never want to miss out on these intense, nail-biting movie explanations, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got some massive blockbuster breakdowns coming your way very soon. Until next time, stay safe, stay alert, and we'll catch you in the next video.